The first thing Ethan Cole saw was light where there should have been ruin. Warm light, steady light. In the farmhouse he had buried 10 years ago and sworn never to touch again. He killed the engine in the rain and listened hard. Not silence. A hinge creaked. A window shut. Someone was inside. Before we begin, share the city you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if this kind of story speaks to you, don't forget to subscribe and be part of the journey. Now, let's get into it. He stepped out into mud and cold Oregon wind, every nerve snapping awake. The house should have been sagging into the earth by now, roof split, porch caved in, memories rotting with the beams. Instead, smoke climbed from the chimney. The fence had been repaired with fresh cedar posts. 3 pairs of children's boots sat by the steps, wet and neatly lined. Fresh tire tracks cut through the yard and vanished behind the barn. Ethan moved without thinking, around the property, low, fast. The rain covered his footsteps. The tool shed had been reinforced from the inside. Motion lights hung under the eaves, rigged from mismatched wire and scavenged flood lamps. A wind chime turned on the porch and clicked in the wind with a metallic rattle. Spent brass casings. Not decoration. Warning. He crouched beneath the kitchen window and looked in. 4 plates drying by the sink, a patched curtain, a little boy's carved horse on the table. Then a shadow crossed the room, and the barrel of a shotgun rose into view. Ethan hit the porch in 3 silent steps, shoved the door open, and the whole house detonated into motion. "Don't move!" a woman shouted. Sarah Mitchell stood in the center of the room, shotgun aimed high but shaking hard enough to betray her. She planted herself in front of a younger woman, Emily, wide-eyed, breath trapped in her throat. Behind the staircase, a boy no older than 7 hugged the wooden horse to his chest, frozen so still he looked carved from the same block. In the corner, seated like she had been waiting for a train instead of a siege, Maggie Hayes watched Ethan with a strange, level calm. "This is my house," Ethan said. "No," Sarah fired back. "This is the house that kept us alive." For one hard second, he almost threw them out then and there. Then he saw the roof through the hall window, patched clean against the rain. He saw the water pump ledger on the counter, parts listed, repaired by hand. He saw the mantel. His parents' photograph stood there, polished, centered, dry. His mother smiling, his father in his Sunday coat. Someone had cleaned the frame. Ethan's jaw tightened. The shotgun lowered an inch. Emily swallowed. Noah peeked out, clutching the horse tighter. Maggie never blinked. "You fixed it," Ethan said. "We buried 2 winters here," Sarah replied. "We didn't steal your dead. We protected them." Headlights suddenly slashed across the front windows, bright, slow, deliberate. Everyone turned. A black truck rolled to the gate and stopped, engine idling low in the rain. Noah whimpered. Sarah raised the shotgun again, this time at the door. Emily backed toward the stairs. Ethan stepped forward, already reaching for a weapon he no longer wore. Maggie finally spoke, quiet and flat. "They won't ask if you've come home," she said. "They'll know." Then the driver's door opened and a man stepped out holding a rifle wrapped in plastic, as if he had all night to finish what he came for. The knock came at sunrise, soft enough to sound polite, hard enough to mean the opposite. Ethan was already awake. By the time he opened the door, Victor Kane stood on the porch in a pressed coat, smiling like a man arriving for church, not war. 2 men flanked him in the yard. Quiet. Still. Hands hanging just inches from their belts. "Morning," Victor said. "Thought we should talk before things get complicated." Sarah appeared in the hallway, rigid, shotgun hidden but close. Emily stepped into view right behind her, chin up, anger burning hotter than caution. Noah saw the men, saw the truck, and vanished without a sound. Victor kept smiling. He talked about unpaid taxes, abandoned land, county records, inheritance delays. Every word landed smooth, every word pushed. Then his eyes drifted past Ethan into the house. "Places like this attract trouble," he said lightly, "especially with women here alone." Ethan didn't blink. "Then it's lucky they aren't alone." The smile thinned. One of Victor's men shifted, leather creaked. Rain tapped the porch roof. Emily took one sharp step forward before Sarah caught her wrist. Victor nodded as if they had agreed on something. "Just trying to be neighborly. Papers have a way of moving fast when people don't cooperate." He turned to leave, then paused at the steps, dragging the tip of a knife across the porch post with a dry, ugly scrape. When he walked away, Ethan saw the fresh gouges beside older cuts buried in the wood. Same height, same angle, measured, deliberate. By noon, Ethan made the call. No debate, no retreat. "Nobody's leaving." The words hit the room and changed it. Sarah stared at him once, searching for a catch. Finding none, she grabbed gloves and followed him outside. Fragile alliance became motion. He showed her how to read broken grass, boot depth, tire spread, how to tell a watcher from a wanderer. She learned fast enough to scare him. Emily took the house. In the front room, a warped floorboard lifted under her heel. She pried it loose and found a narrow compartment buried in dust. Inside sat a rusted lockbox, a ring of old keys, and a ledger wrapped in oilcloth. They opened it on the kitchen table. Names, dates, numbers, payments with no reasons, lines scratched out, others marked twice. Maggie leaned in, then froze. The color drained from her face. Her finger stopped on one entry. Elias Kane, not Victor. His father. Outside, coyotes started up beyond the tree line, a thin, hungry chorus. Then the barn door slammed open, all by itself. Everyone turned. Noah stood halfway down the stairs, clutching a stack of hidden sketches to his chest. Men, trucks, crates. And on every crate, the same burned symbol. Ethan reached for the top page. It matched the mark at the bottom of his father's ledger. The crow was still swinging when Ethan saw the wire. One sharp gust turned its dead weight toward the house, beak open, wings stiff, black feathers tapping the mailbox like knuckles on a coffin. He cut it down without a word. Sarah stood on the porch with a basket of eggs against her hip, face drained, hard, and pale. Emily swore under her breath and looked toward the road like she wanted Kane to appear so she could kill him herself. Maggie took the basket from Sarah before it dropped. Inside the house, Noah watched through the curtain and said nothing. The days kept moving because they had to. Hammer strikes cracked through the yard from sunrise to dark. Ethan repaired irrigation lines with mud on his knees and blood on his knuckles. Sarah sold eggs at market and came back with too little cash and too many glances over her shoulder. Emily bundled hay until her palms split. Maggie boiled preserves in the kitchen, sealing jars like each lid might buy them one more day. Every small success brought a response. Fence posts were sawn halfway through in the night. A section of pasture went yellow by noon and stank of poison. Boot prints appeared beside the well and vanished before dawn. Ethan answered with old instincts he hated for how quickly they returned. From the upstairs windows he mapped sight lines across the orchard and tree line. He buried spare fuel behind the shed. He strung fishing line through brush and hung bent tin where no wind should touch it. At night, he slept in bursts. Sometimes not at all. Sarah heard him once in the hallway, breath ragged, hands shaking so hard he had to brace against the wall where his mother had died. He saw her watching and straightened too fast. Soldier, replacing man. She didn't speak. Neither did he. But the next morning she handed him coffee before the sun came up, and he took it with both hands. Then the ledger broke open. Emily spread it across the kitchen table while Maggie read aloud in a whisper that kept catching. Dates, deliveries, remote properties, cash routed through dead farms no one would question. One note, underlined twice, stopped the room cold. Ready to take records to county if Kane route continues. Ethan stared at his father's handwriting until the letters blurred. "So it wasn't an accident," Sarah said. No one answered. They didn't need to. That afternoon, Emily followed a hunch to the old mill and nearly didn't come back. She hit the yard at dusk, scraped raw, jacket torn, lungs burning. Ethan caught her before she fell. "Crates," she gasped. "Stacked to the rafters, men everywhere." She swallowed air and grabbed his sleeve. "I heard them. They said the farmhouse. They think something's still here." The barn door slammed open outside. Everyone flinched. Noah's chair was empty. Sarah spun first. Upstairs, his bed was cold. His window hung wide to the dark, curtain twitching. Muddy boot prints marked the sill, then the floor, then the grass below. Ethan was already moving. Lantern, rifle, knife. Emily right behind him. Sarah barefoot on the porch. Beyond the orchard, deep in the black between the trees, a lantern flickered once. Then it went out. Noah's name was still hanging in the trees when Ethan found the broken branch. Fresh snap, fresh mud. He dropped to one knee, touched the print, then moved with the cold, exact focus he thought he'd buried overseas. Sarah ignored every order to stay back and pushed after him through wet brush and black pine. Maggie came too, pale and breathless, pointing toward an overgrown creek bed choked with fern and alder. "Your father used it when trouble came," she said. "He said water hides footsteps." Ethan shot her a hard look, but he followed. They found Noah inside an old hunting blind, half swallowed by moss, curled against the wall with his carved horse locked in both hands. Alive, shaking. Ethan pulled him close once, hard, then froze at the washout beside the blind. Rain had carved a slice through the bank. A metal box jutted from the earth, pried loose by runoff. Inside were photographs, folded deeds, copies of payments, and a cassette recorder wrapped in oilcloth. Ethan hit play. Static. Then his father's voice, older than the dirt, rough with fear. "If you're hearing this, I waited too long. Elias Kane is moving freight through the valley farms, not alone. Someone close opened the gate, someone I trusted." The tape clicked. No name, just breath. Then, "If anything happens to me, it was never an accident." That was enough. Enough to burn Kane down, enough to get them all killed. They ran the box back at dusk. Too late. Engines hit the field first, then headlights. 3 trucks tore through the pasture, flattening rows, cutting wide arcs toward the house. The power died in the same second. Darkness slammed down. A bottle burst against the barn wall. Fire climbed dry wood fast and mean. Everything broke at once. Glass exploded in the kitchen. Sarah shoved Noah behind the stove, grabbed the shotgun, and fired through smoke with a force that silenced the room. Emily vanished into the floor as one intruder crashed through the cellar door after her. A beat later came a scream, a thud, then silence from below. Maggie dragged the lockbox under the table and finally said it, voice cracking. "I worked for your mother. I knew what they found. I kept quiet when they died." Ethan was already outside. Mud sucked at his boots as he chased Kane through the half-burned orchard, trees glowing at the edges, fruit dropping and bursting in ash. Kane turned with a pistol. Ethan hit him low. They went down hard in the ruins of Ethan's childhood. Fists, mud, smoke, blood. Kane reached for the gun. Ethan got there first. For one brutal second, revenge had a clear shape. Then sirens rose in the distance. Ethan pressed the barrel into Kane's throat and chose the harder thing. He kicked the pistol away, hauled him up, and dragged him into the open just as police lights washed blue and red across the field. By dawn, the farmhouse still stood, scorched, shattered, breathing smoke but standing. Noah slept against Sarah's side. Emily emerged from the cellar with blood on her sleeve and a feral smile. Maggie sat on the porch like judgment had finally found her. On the kitchen table, the recorder spun to its end. One last hiss. One last fragment of Ethan's father's voice. I never believed my close friend would help them. Then the tape snapped, and from the porch Maggie whispered, He's still here.